Shalom, Ahab, Wa, Baraka. First and foremost, facing the east, I want to give all praise, honor, and glory to Yahweh, Ba'ashim, Yahweh Shai, Wahar, Akakwadash, and double honors to the elder apostles, the prophets, and the teachers that have been bringing out this 100% truth for the last 30 plus years, and to the sincere Ak Yahweh Akwath, meaning you brothers and sisters that are sincere in righteousness. Salutations. Let's just get right into it. This is going to be Ephesians 4. I'm going to read the Ephesians 4, chapter 4, NLT. Okay? All right, let's get right into it. Like I said, Ephesians chapter 4. We're going to read the whole chapter, NLT. So let's go ahead and start from the top. And it reads, "Therefore, I, a prisoner for serving Yahweh, beg you to lead a life worthy of your calling, for you have been called by Yahweh." So immediately you know this is only talking to the 1/3. The 1/3 is the only people that are going to actually change or have any kind of reaction to this type of verse. Because it says, lead a life worthy of your calling. And so what happens to most people once they hear that? Boom, they're done. They're done, son. And let me prove it. Let's go over to Mark chapter 4, KJV authorized. You know what? Let's get it in the NLT. Let's see what the NLT says. Mark chapter 4, NLT. Mark, mother. Always something. It's just to make me mad though. So it's always trying to get under my skin. But I gotta learn how to deal with that. That's what's gonna make me a better person. The more this thing messes with me, the more patience I gain. So it says, let's go to Mark chapter 4, because let me read the verse again because it took me so long to get there. Ephesians, it said to lead a life worthy of your calling, for you have been called by Yahweh. Now, I told you only the 1/3 are going to have any kind of reaction to that, because once a worldly person hears lead a life worthy of your calling, you've been called by the Most High. Let me show it to you. It says, starting at verse 4, 16. The seed on the rocky soil represents those who hear a message. So let me start again. This is Mark chapter 4, verse 16, NLT. And it says, the seed on the rocky soil represents those who hear the message and immediately receive it with joy. Well, that's everybody, right? Oh, the Lord, yes, I love me, the Lord. The Lord is my shepherd. The Lord is, God is all love. All you got to do is say, I accept Jesus Christ as my Lord and Savior, and you're saved. Remember all that. So they hear that lie and they receive it with immediately with joy, because they think they don't have to do anything. See, it said lead a life worthy of your calling. So that means that there's works involved. So verse 17. But since they don't have deep roots, they don't have any spirit in them, they don't last long. They fall away as soon as they have problems or are persecuted for believing Yahweh's word. And what happens to us? Yahweh, Bahashim, Yahweh Shai, we're persecuted for believing his word. You see that? So that immediately you 2/3 have a problem and fall off immediately. You other nations, you never were on. So verse 18, this is important. Verse 18, the seed that fall among thorns represents others who hear Yahweh's word, But all too quickly, the message is crowded out by the worries of life, the lure of wealth, and the desire for other things, so no fruit is produced. So now you gotta, that's why it says, when it tells you right there in the first verse, lead a life worthy of your calling, it's only talking to the 1/3. If it's talking to somebody else, you can just go ahead and show me in the scriptures. That way I can be corrected there. But it says, always be humble in verse 2. We're going back to Ephesians chapter 4 and verse 2. Always be humble and gentle, be patient with each other, making allowance for each other's faults because of your love. So we know that people are gonna make mistakes. A righteous man falls 7 times and gets back up again. What that's saying is not that you're just gonna go throughout life making mistakes and coming back to the Lord. That's a Christian approach. It's saying a righteous man is gonna make a mistake. He's going to acknowledge that mistake, and to get up again means that he's going to move away from that mistake, not become a repeat offender. Now, some of us, all of us, are at a certain time repeat offenders, but you have to come out of that life. So as a person who's also been from one side of the tracks to the other, I also had to come out of that lifestyle, and I also find myself falling off sometimes, and you have to grab a hold of your own soul and say, hey man, what are you doing? You got to slow down. You got to make room for Yahweh Bahashem Yahweh Shai. So, and it says that we all have faults, and we're going to make allowance for that because of our love. So how do we love our brother? Because there is going to be faults, but if you really love your brother, you go to Leviticus 19 and 17. I want to read it. I'm going to stay in the NLT today. Let's just do it, because everybody's talking shit like, oh, all those Hebrew Israel, they raised the KJV. Like it doesn't say the goddamn same thing. You guys just don't understand words. But let's go with the NLT. Leviticus 19 and 17, because you know what? It kind of nails it. It nails it, because we keep telling you that Leviticus 19 and 17 is only talking about Israel. Watch this. Do not nurse hatred in your heart for any of your relatives. Relatives. That's your bloodline. That's your seed. That's the people that belong to the same nation as you. Israel. Those are your relatives. Comfort people directly, so you will not be held guilty for their sins. Now let's go to the King James Version, because that last part has and what it means is it goes, and that actually goes into Ezekiel, I think chapter 33, starting at verse 12. If you or maybe it's before that, but it's saying not verse 12. That's when you go into, if you leave the truth, that your all your good works are going to be taken away. But it says that comfort people directly, so you will be not held guilty for their sins. So if you know somebody's sinning, you have to say something, or you're just as guilty as they are. That's why when you go to the actual King James Version, on this one we have to. It says, you shall not hate your brother in your heart. You shall surely rebuke your neighbor and not bear sin because of him. So you are going to rebuke your neighbor. Rebuke thy neighbor. What does the word rebuke mean? Correct. So when you go back, now we can go back over here. So comfort your people directly, so you will not be held guilty for their sins. So it's telling you that you shall not suffer sin upon him. Do not let him sin. But if you know he's sinning, the NLT is telling you that you're part of it now because you didn't say anything. So the translation is off a little bit, and that's why we go back to the King James, because we have to. But I tried to use it. I'm going to still use it for this class in the book of Ephesians. But I have to keep a close eye on what it's saying. And see, that is where years of study come into play versus I read the Bible. I know what it's saying. I've read the Bible front to back so many times I lost count. But going back to Ephesians, verse 3. Make every effort to keep yourselves united in the Spirit, binding yourselves together with peace. So it says make an effort to be a part of this truth. You can't just stand there. To make an effort means there's works involved. Once again, it's talking about works. Verse 4, for there is only one body, one Spirit, just as you have been called to one glorious hope for the future. Now, we know that the scriptures are, when it talks about the parts of the body. Let me get it real quick. All right, we're going to go to 1 Corinthians chapter 12, but we're going to read this again really quick. Ephesians 4 and 4 and 4. For there is one body and one Spirit, just as you have been called to one glorious hope for the future. So when it goes into that one body and one Spirit, it's actually talking about the 1/3. So when you go to Corinthians, 1 Corinthians 12 and 12, it says, for as the body is one and hath many members, okay? And all the members of the one body, being many, are one body. So also is Yahushua. So each member of the body has a different use. But we're not going to get into that. I'm just showing you that that body that he's speaking of is that 1/3 chosen elect. So, verse 5, for Yahweh, for there is one Yahweh, one faith, one baptism, one Yahweh, one and Yahweh for all, who is over all, in all, and living through all. And that's true. Well, what about evil people? Aren't they controlled by Satan? Let's find out. If there is evil in the world, is it not I that have done it? I have done it. What chapter and verse? Not fucking. Hold on. So we're gonna get that too, because the Most High created evil also. So and it reads right here. Let me read it again so you guys understand. For as the body is one and hath many members, and all the members of that one body, being many, are one body, so also is Christ. Remember that, okay? Keep that in mind. So we know that he works through everybody. So when we go to verse 6 in Ephesians 4 and 6, one God, one Father of all, who is over all in all. So he's one God, one Father who's over all. He's in all people. He's living through all people. Do you guys understand that? Okay, good. Now let me show you what it's really saying. Because even wicked people, like I said earlier, but they're controlled by Satan. No, they're not. They are not controlled by Satan. If there is evil in the world, is it not I? So, let's find it real quick. Here it is, verse 7. I form the light. I create darkness. I make peace and create evil. I, the Lord, do all these things. So you see that? So he creates peace. He makes evil. He does all these things. So when he says that who is over all, in all, living through all, he's telling you that I have full control of this. I have full control. And everything you're doing is exactly the way I want it to be done. You can't do nothing against the truth, but for the truth. It's beautiful. Everything that happens, and he's telling you, everything's through me. I am living through all, God and Father. So verse 7, however, He has given each of us a special gift through the generosity of Christ. Now I told you, now we got to go back over to 1 Corinthians again, and let's pick up where we left off. So it literally tells you in verse 12, remember that as many as one were also in Christ. So one body, being many, are one body. So there's many of us, but we're one body. So what does that mean? Verse 13, for by one Spirit are we all baptized into one body, whether we be Jews or Gentiles. Now, when it's talking about Gentiles right there, for all you dummies, it's talking about Hellenized Israelites. Whether we be bond or free, and have been all made to drink into one Spirit. For the body is not one member, but many. Now, I'm going to skip over the foot and the ear and the whole body. We're an eye. But I want to skip down to verse 18 where it reads, but now hath God set the members of every one of them in the body as it has pleased him. Okay? And if they were all one member, where were the body? But now are they many members, but yet one body? And every eye cannot see unto every eye cannot say unto the hand, I have no need of thee, nor again the head to the feet, I have no need of you. So as a body in Christ, we all have individual jobs, but we all work together as a single unit. I hope you guys can understand that, or shall I just keep reading? So, you know what? If you can't figure it out by now, he's literally using your body parts as a metaphor. Your face can't be all eyes. How are you going to smell or hear or taste or talk if it's all eyes? See, each part of the body has a specific use and purpose, and one needs the other to survive. So being one body, we're all working together. So let me skip down to, let me just keep reading. Verse 22, nay, much more these members of one body, which seem to be more feeble, are necessary. What do you mean? So that you think that these feeble parts that you don't need, they're actually necessary? Like my eyebrows. Just for an example. Do you even know what your eyebrows are for? Do you guys even know why we have eyebrows? Probably not. Let me explain. The reason why you have eyebrows is because you sweat on your forehead. So the eyebrows stop the sweat and make it go down around your eyes. It's literally to stop sweat. I know it's weird, right? But that's one of the more feeble parts of your body that doesn't seem to have a use, but that's one of its uses, is to stop the sweat. Okay, going back into it. So verse 23. And those members of the body which we think to be less honorable, upon these we bestow more abundant honor, and our uncomely parts have more abundant comeliness. For our comely parts have no need, but Yahweh hath tempered the body together, having given more abundant honor to the part which lacked. He's saying all the things that make you beautiful, like the way your body, like your nose and your eyes are shaped into color, that shit, that's your beautiful parts, but they just really have no use. The beauty has no use on the body other than the Most High wanted us to look good. So the point is, I want you to hear this, because like I said, each body has your body has all these parts are different. They all serve a purpose. Some parts you don't even see. Some parts don't seem like they have any purpose, and that's true. Like just beauty itself, it's really got no purpose other than making you feel good about yourself, or other people like want to be around you. But other than that, you're not gonna live longer because you're beautiful or you're ugly. It's gonna be the same through the eyes of Yahweh. So back to it, verse 25. that there should be no schism in the body, but that the members should have the same care for one another. So you should be just as worried about your eyebrow and your pinky toe as you are about your eye and your whole fucking arm. You know what I'm saying? You should worry about each part the same. In other words, bringing it to reality, all the people that are joined with you in Yahweh Bahashem, Yahweh Shai, you going back to a verse, going back over here in Mark, going to verse 2, what does it say? I'm sorry, not Mark, but Ephesians, verse 2. What does it say? It says, always be humble and gentle and patient with each other. So whether you're redeemed like the head, if you're the head, you know you're revered as the head, the ruler, the leader. But if you're the foot, you're down at the bottom doing all the work, right? It's saying that we should always be humble, gentle, and be patient with each other. So we should treat each other the same, no matter whether you're the leader or the lowest in the in the body. Like your part seems like the least, but yet we need that part that seems like it's the least for this body to run properly. So we all got to treat each other the same. We all got to be good to our brothers and sisters. Let's keep reading. Going back to we left off at verse 6. It said, one God, one Father for all of us. So I went off on that, and then it also said in all, living through all, however he has given us a special gift through his generosity of Christ. And verse 4, we were one body. So for there is one body and one spirit. So that's that. Now we've got those precepts out of the way. We understand what that means now. Let's move on to verse 7. However, he has given each of us a special gift through the generosity of Yahweh Shai. So that goes back into the body too. Each part of the body has a certain purpose. Great. Moving on. Verse 8. That is why the scriptures say, when he ascended to the heights, he led a crowd of captives and gave gifts to his people. And the gifts are spiritual. He didn't send down a fucking brand new Mercedes or gold chain. He didn't know. These gifts are spiritual. Like understanding, wisdom, and knowledge. So, verse 9. And that'll be 3. When you have that first, when you build your foundation on wisdom, knowledge, and understanding, that means that seek ye first the Lord and his righteousness, and what happens next? All things will be added unto you. So the things are going to be added unto you no matter what if you're doing his works. That's how it works. That's how it happens, I should say. Okay. Verse 9. Notice that it says he ascended. This clearly means that Christ also descended to our lowly world. And that's true. He came all the way down here to be with us, like us, born through a woman like us, with no extra special powers. And it even tells you, let me see if I can find that real quick. I think I found it. This is what I'm talking about, though, with because the Christians will try to say immaculate conception, which is a Babylonian doctrine. I don't know if you guys know that. So going into Nimrod's mother, who was impregnated by Nimrod before he died, but then she said that it was immaculate conception. That's where you guys get all that bullshit from. Why do you think they call this place Secret Babylon in the first place? Secret Babylon, because your culture is Babylonian. So going to the point, because that's what the Christians are saying, that it was immaculate. No, Yahweh Shai was put down here as a man just like us, So that's why when it's talking about Ephesians, he ascended and he descended down to be low in this world with us. Let me prove it. This is Hebrews chapter 2, starting at verse 6. We'll start at 6. But one in a certain place testified, saying, what is man, that thou art mindful of him, or the Son of Man, that thou visitest him? So verse 7, thou madest him a little lower than the angels, that thou crownedest him with the glory and honor, and didst set him over the works of thy hand. Thou hast put all things in subjection under his feet, for in that he put all in subjection under him, he left nothing that is not under him. But now we see not yet all the things put under him. So we don't actually see his rulership right now. We can't see it. Watch this, verse 9. But we see Yahushua, who is made a little lower than the angels for the suffering of death. So he didn't have that power. He didn't come in here immaculately. He came in like a man so he could die like a man, for the lack of better words. But he was put to death. It says that, and that was for our sake. So don't get it twisted. Because he was put lower than the angels for the suffering of death, crowned with the glory and the honor that he, by the grace of Yahweh, should taste death for every man. Okay? So now, he was made just like us, so we wouldn't be able to say that he was how would you say that he had some kind of special divine power to keep him from sin, because you remember, Yahushua is the perfect lamb. He was the perfect lamb. That means he had no blemish. Blemish means sin. Perfect means to be without sin. So he was a man without sin. So what do you do with a perfect lamb on the Passover? A lamb that's still a kid in its first year, and it has to be clean. So it can't have any, like, a broken bone or any kind of blemish on its body. And the that lamb is used for the Passover. Why? Because that lamb has to have, like I said, blemish representing sin. So Yahushua was our Passover lamb. He represents a man that didn't sin. The Christians immediately try to tell you, well, he was like the angels and he had immaculate consent. No, that's Babylonian, and he ascended. This clearly means that he descended to our lowly world. So when he descended, he came in through Mary as a man. Joseph's whole lineage is told in Matthew chapter 1. The whole chapter is going through the first part of the chapter. The whole chapter is going through Yahweh, the lineage, all the way from Abraham, Isaac, and Jacob to Joseph. You know why it's telling you that? Because that is what made Yahushua a descendant of the Yahudah. The name of his people was Yahudah, not Jew. That's a made up name so they can have that name. The name of our people is Yahudah. But anyway, so now we know what it meant by him descending to our lowly world. It means that he came in as a man. He didn't sin. He proved to us that we could go through this without sinning. We're just weak. We're weak-minded. So when our minds are strong again, he'll get rid of the stony heart, and he'll replace it with a fleshly heart, and you'll be your mortality has to be made immortal. You see what it's saying is that your mind, your hard-headed, block-headed mind, is going to be brought back to the truth. So, moving on. And the same who descended is the one who ascended higher than all the heavens, so that he might fulfill the entire universe with himself. So how's the entire universe filled with Yahushua? We're going to preach the gospel to the four corners of the earth, and then the end's going to come. So he's being preached to the four corners of the earth. Now, these are the gifts Yahushua gave to the church: apostles, the prophets, the evangelists, and the pastors and teachers. Their responsibility is to equip Yahweh's people to do his work and build up the church, the body of Yahushua, the body of Christ. And when we're talking about the body, everybody's got their own part. Like a company, not everybody's the owner. Not everybody's the laborer. Not everybody's the foreman. You have foremans, you have leadmen, you have laborers, you have journeymen, you have the office. You got the office manager, you got the secretary, and whatever else, how many other people they have doing different things in the office. And then you have the owner. So everybody has a different part in the body of this company. That's what we're like. We're like a company to the Most High, for the lack of better words. So we all have different jobs in the body of Christ, in other words. So verse 13. This will continue until we come to such unity in our faith and knowledge of Yahweh's Son, that we will be mature in Yahweh. So in other words, to be mature in Yahweh means to, the best way to explain it would be 2 Timothy 2:15. So let's get it. So to be mature in Yahweh means 2 Timothy 2:15. And it reads, "Study to show thyself approved unto Yahweh, a workman that needeth not be ashamed, rightfully dividing the word of truth." So 2 Timothy 2:15 is how you explain that. So let's read it again. Verse 13, this will continue until we come to the such unity in our faith and knowledge of Yahweh's Son, that we will be mature in Yahweh. To be mature means to stay in the works, to study. Study to show thyself approved, and will not be influenced. So let's skip to verse 14. Because I just told you, study to show thyself approved, right? Now let's go to verse 14 now. Then we will no longer be immature like children. Because immature, in other words, to be mature is to be well trained, to be taught. A child has no training, no teaching. So we will no longer be unlearned like children, immature like children. We will not be tossed and blown about by every wind of new teaching. We come back to the 100% truth. That's why I said this is only talking to the 1/3. Because see, we're not going to be blown about by the wind of every new teaching. Now here's the very important part that you guys all need to understand. We will not be influenced when people try to trick us with lies so clever they sound like the truth. Just like the Immaculate Conception, I have to explain the whole thing. I have to go into Nimrod and his mother, and how Babylonian is like, why would they call this place Secret Babylon? It's just like, that's how much you guys don't know. And a lot of you, and I'm not talking to you guys that actually know this stuff. I'm saying like the people that you probably haven't even made it this far in the video anyway to even hear this part. So anyway, let me just go back into it. You guys just really just don't know, but there's a lot of us that do. And the ones that do know that this truth is coming out. In fact, let's go to verse 15. In fact, let's finish reading. We will not be influenced when people try to trick us with lies so clever they sound like the truth. What happened? Let me read it again. We will not be influenced when people try to trick us with lies so clever they sound like the truth. Now, that's not just the Bible. Once you have the Bible as your foundation, now you look at the world differently. You see the world differently. You are looking into this place going, oh man, the government, both sides, they're working together and they're lying to us about it. Oh man, the world, G7, this, G that, G something, summit, top of mountain, leadership meeting, summit means top of mountain, that peak. Where do all the leaders go? To the summit. That's what they did in the book of Enoch, right? All of the leaders that you guys are calling great, this, that, and the third, really, back then, it tells you that they could speak to the Most High. And the Most High wouldn't speak to them anymore because they were wicked. They had to ask Enoch. But what did they do? They went to the summit. They went to the top of the mountain. They all had a meeting. Who does that? Who does that on the beginning of the movie? Is that Paramount that has all the stars around the mountain? That represents that in the book of Enoch, just letting you know, just for a side note. But so... they tell lies so clever, you think it's the truth. So these guys get together, and that goes into how they can't even get sleep unless they've done evil. They hate you. They hate the poor. The rich people hate the poor because they were wicked and corrupt to get to that rich position. And they don't want you with them. So they do everything they can to keep you down. So they're going to tell you lies so clever they sound like the truth. Next thing you know, you're working 40 hours a week. They've never lifted a finger. You have to pay insurance. You have to pay taxes. You have to pay for everything when they don't pay for anything. They own everything. What are they going to pay for? They own it all. You see how that works? So they're going to lie to you until the end. But we're not going to be immature like children. We're not going to be tossed and blown about by the wind of every new teaching. Every fucking week they go on the news and tell you something different. Forget about the Bible. Look at what's going on in the world. Look what's going on in the world. You guys don't listen. The scriptures are here as an instruction book to help you make it through this place. Wow. Let me keep reading. Verse 15. Instead, we will speak the truth in love. And what is love? To rebuke your brother, to not suffer sin upon him, right? Leviticus 19 and 17. I will rebuke my neighbor, my brother. I will correct my brother to not suffer sin upon him. And remember, in NLT, it was saying, also suffering sin upon yourself because you're letting this guy sin willingly and you're not saying nothing. Okay, let's keep reading. Let's keep reading. So, verse 16, he makes the whole body fit together perfectly as each part does its own special work. It helps the other parts grow so that the whole body is healthy and growing and full of love. So if we're all doing our job and we're all working together, we grow together. What do they call us? Crabs in a bucket. Why? Because we're always against each other, and that was by design. Those days are over, Israel. Those days are over. The Most High is waking us up, and He's bringing us back together. So love it. Don't like it. Love it. Because we're finally starting, and I'm seeing it. I'm seeing it myself with the chow guy that shot one of our children in the back as he was running because they suspected him of stealing water. So, okay, we know what happened. We know the kid had a gun. He never pulled it out, but it fell out of his jacket as he was running away, which gave them right to shoot him, calling it self-defense. To shoot him in his back and it'd be self-defense, that's absolutely not legal. That's their own special law they made up. Because once somebody's back is turned and they're running, they're fleeing the scene, they're no longer a threat to your life. So, but I am seeing the unity. I am seeing that body growing healthy and full of love. Why? Because we did a boycott. All Chinese everything. You know, I'll be honest, I don't feel comfortable going into a Chinese restaurant, to a Chinese store, because they do stare at me, they watch me. One time my wife, she went to purchase something, this bitch fucking put gloves on first to take our money. Like this, like she had to let us know how nasty we were. I'm like, bitch, we're nasty, smell this fucking place. You ever been into a Chinese a grocery store? It stinks. I don't feel comfortable, but I noticed All of us are saying the same thing. Man, I don't feel comfortable. Go to the black-owned business. I'm a black-owned business. I just keep my mouth shut because I'm just getting started. I'm not going to get into all that. Like I said, my personal life has nothing to do with your salvation, so I have to keep my mouth shut. But the thing is that we're all sticking together instead of climbing on top of each other. No, go to the black-owned businesses. Boycott these other nations. Come back to your own people. That's the body growing healthy. When we start doing things just for Israel, and I'm not saying, oh, well, you look Chinese, you can't come around me, or you look like an Edomite. See, that is where we have the dysfunction. You have to understand. Like, you know what my favorite place in the world is? Venice Beach. I grew up there, actually. In LA County. I grew up at Venice Beach. That's where I spent all my time before I had to move to this fucking desert. I hate it here. It's like a prison sentence for me because I grew up on the water. But at Venice Beach, back to the point, like when you go to the one brother from GMS, Menachezakba, I forget what beach he's in, South Carolina somewhere. Same thing. You don't just see white people or just black people walking down the street. You see all different, but in Venice, it's really big. You see people from all over the world. People from all over the world are there. So it's not just like, so it gives me an idea of what the kingdom would look like when Israel's in the kingdom. Now, there's a lot of Jews out there, for the lack of better words. You got a lot of Yahawada. Believe me, about, I would say almost half the people out there are Yahawada. In other words, the real Jews, the real Yashar Allah. But then there's everybody else. And so even when Peter, he had to speak to all the people to see if he could find flesh among himself. He would speak to all the people to see if he could find flesh among himself. But as a group now, we're seeing our people start to stick together. That's the first step. The Israelites have to come back together. If that means that it has to be a black thing, well, maybe that's the way it needs to start. But then it has to branch out into who are your ancestors and who are their ancestors. And if you have the same ancestors, but you guys don't have the same skin color, it means you still need to be joined together. Moving on. So now we know about the body growing together in health and love. To love your neighbor, rebuke your brother, but also remember, they might not look exactly like you. So that's where you guys are going to get a serious downfall again. This is just going to be another serious downfall until we can learn that a lot of these Asians are actually our people. A lot of these so-called Caucasians are our people. A lot of these Mexicans are our people. A lot of the Africans are our people. You go to any country, even these fucking Amalekites that we say is our stolen, a lot of them, not a lot of them, some of them, a lot of them, I have to say some of them. I want to take that back. Some of the Caucasians are our people. Some of those Amalekites, which are also Caucasians, are our people. Some of the Asians are our people. Okay? Some of the Mexicans are our people. Some of the black people that we think are Israelites are actually they're actually chocolate Edomites. They're the descendants of the slave master. It's both ways, people. It goes both ways. So when we get down and dirty, we're gonna have to grow as a nation through, and to be healthy, we have to accept the truth. To love means to embrace it. So we have to love and embrace this truth. And yeah, our people aren't going to all look the same. So you guys got to get out of that mindset. But it is good to see the so-called black community standing on business finally. It is. I'm part of that because if I want Chinese, I'll fucking eat it at home. My wife's the best damn cook I've ever known in my life. Ever. I mean, like, I'm not giving her extra credit for being my wife. I tell you, man, I hate my wife's cooking. I can't believe she don't know how to cook. I have to cook everything. Nah. House smells like a fucking restaurant every night. So, not worried about their food or their hair products, their nail products, or their stinky ass grocery stores. I can get all that stuff anywhere. Back to it though. like I said, that the nation, the Moabite nation, is gonna they're receiving judgment right now. And that's because we are growing back together healthy. We're gonna stay away from these other nations. That's why I said maybe it is the way we need to start as a so-called black community sticking together, because then we're gonna have to branch out and realize, hey man, you know, Jerome, man, his girlfriend white, his son came out light skinned, and then he married a white girl. Now their kid is white. So what about those? Are they no longer, see what I'm saying? They're part of your family, so you have to keep them in your family. All right, moving on. Verse 19. They have no, okay, the verse 18. Sorry. Where are we at? Verse 14. No, 15. We were at 15. Instead, we will speak truth in love, growing every way more and more like Yahushua, who is the head of his body, the church, and that's us. Now, verse 16. He makes the whole body fit together perfectly. Now we understand that. We know that he's bringing us back together as his people. Each part does its own special work. We've gone over that. It helps the other parts grow. So that you have, like, let's just say, because a righteous man falls 7 times and gets back up again. So you break your right arm. So you're using your left hand and everything until your right hand is working good again, right? Do you understand what I'm saying? So your body's going to work together. Hey man, you're down right now. We're all going to pull together to help you until you get back on your feet. So this body is going to work together. That's how it's going to grow healthy and strong. So it helps the other parts grow so that the whole body is healthy and growing and full of love. Verse 17. With the Yahweh's authority, I say this: live no longer as the Gentiles do, for they are hopelessly confused. So, well, see, it says Gentiles. Yeah, guess what? It can be either. I'm going to say it straight up. I don't care if it's talking about a Gentile that's a Hellenized Jew or a natural Gentile that's a heathen. It says don't live like them. So if there might be a Gentile that knows that they're Israel but prefers to live the Gentile life, like you Christians, all of you Christians. Some of you guys are a lot of Israelites, but you prefer to live like a Gentile. But it says live no longer as Gentiles do. They are hopelessly confused. So it's not saying so it's telling you as that 1/3, no matter whether it's talking about the natural Gentile or the Hellenized Jew, the Hellenized Israelite, it's saying don't live like them. Very, very simple stuff here today, people. But we've got to go through it. We've got to go through it. Now that we've got verse 18. Now we're going to get into some important stuff about the Gentiles. Now we're going to go into the mindset of a Gentile. Their minds are full of darkness. They wander far from the life Yahweh gives because they have closed their minds and hardened their hearts against him. That Gentile right there is Hellenized. Because how could your mind not be against what the scriptures teach when the scriptures teach that all nations are less than spittle? Think about it. So none of the nations they're always going to be in darkness. They're always under that dark mindset. Their minds are always, but our people are Hellenized and taught that same lifestyle. So our people wander far from the life of Yahweh. Why? Because they've been pushed away with these Gentiles. And he tells you, don't live like these people. Even the ones that choose to be that way, get away from them. Get away from them. Because they have closed their minds and hardened their hearts against him. They have no sense of shame. They live for lustful pleasure and eagerly practice every kind of impurity. I'll try anything once. I hate people that say that. I hate when people say that. I'll try anything once. That is that person that practices every kind of impurity. But, verse 20, but that isn't what you learned about Yahushua. Yeah, we have rules. We have regulations. We have a dress code. We have a menu that we eat off of. Literally a dietary plan. We have a way we're supposed to have our hair. We have everything set in front of us. Life's very easy as an Israelite. Just as long as you follow the instructions, the Most High puts a blessing on you. It's very simple. It's very simple. So, these Gentiles, see, this is the problem with the Gentiles. They have no sense of shame. They live for lustful pleasure and eagerly practice every kind of impurity. So they're shameless. You'll see people like on the TikToks and stuff. Right? Dude will run through Walmart, throwing milk on everybody, slide across the floor, pouring all over himself, screaming and acting a fucking fool, straight fool. A lot of that foolishness, a lot of it. I see a lot of it. And that's what I'm saying. They're shameless. They're not embarrassed of themselves. They're, I got 1 million views. Yeah, I'm gonna make money off this. People were disgusted. 1 million people all at once, and there's no shame in you. Okay, let's keep going. But that isn't what you learned about Yahushua. Since you have heard about Yahushua and have learned the truth that comes from him, throw off your old sinful nature and your former way of life, which is corrupted by lust and deception. So let's get it. Let's get the precept for that. Revelation. I think it's chapter 4. Let's see. No, wait. Hold on. Sorry about that. My mind went blank. I was thinking Revelation 4, which Revelation 18 and 4. But we really have to go to we really have to go to the man, this thing is trying its best to not let me get to scriptures. It's just getting close. It won't. Of course, I tell you guys every time when I try to bring out scriptures, my computers start dysfunctioning really bad. I don't know why. So Revelation 18 and let's start at 3. In fact, let's go back to Ephesians just really quick. I'll read the verse again so we can get right back into the mindset. And it said, since you have heard about Yahushua, you have learned the truth comes from him. So it says, throw off your old sinful nature and your former way of life, which is corrupted by lust and deception. So we've got to get the precept to that, because it's telling you to lose that lifestyle like I was telling you earlier. So let's go into it again. Revelation, let's start at verse I'm gonna start at verse 2, but the actual point is in verse 4. So let's just go ahead and get it. Revelation 18 and 2. And I heard, and he cried mightily with a strong voice, saying, Babylon the great is fallen, and is become a habitation of devils, and the hold of every foul spirit, and the cage of every unclean, hateful bird. That's like the reason why I'm going to bring it out. That's not the point, but that's building up to the point. That's building up, because it tells you to stop living that sinful lifestyle of the world. And what is this world? It's become a habitation of liars and every type of foul, perverted, nasty, lustful spirit. And unclean and hateful people. That's why there's so much murder, death, kill, rape, child abduction, you name it, it's going on here. That's why it's telling you this place is fallen. So just because you're still playing PlayStation 5, it doesn't mean that these things aren't happening right outside your door. This place has become a habitation of liars. Who runs this joint? Come on, man. And what happens every time there's something happens with a so-called black person? It's either the kid defends himself, 35 years for murder. The kid runs for his life, shot in the back, and the person that shot him gets self-defense. So I'm telling you, this has become the habitation of devils and the hold of every foul spirit and the cage of every unclean and hateful bird. Don't you get it? We're represented as clean and unclean and hateful. That's what it's telling us. Okay, so verse 3. For the nations have drunk of the wine of the wrath of her fornication, and the kings of the earth have committed fornication with her. And the merchants of the earth are waxed rich through the abundance of her delicacies. This is talking about America. This is secret Babylon the Great right here. I told you that earlier. The lifestyle, the culture here. But now it's even showing you that it goes even deeper than that. Our culture is a wicked, evil culture that we live in, and it's painted as like a dream life, the American dream. We don't get shit out here except for oppressed. And anybody that comes out here wants to go home soon because they know, God damn, this place is crazy. So now that we understand that all these nations have gotten rich off of her, it's the habitation of liars and devils. They kill us in the streets and everything. So what did it tell you? So before we get to the point, we got to go back to Ephesians one more time real quick. And it says, throw off your old sinful nature and your former way of life, which is corrupted by lust and deception. So now, let's go back to the point, Revelation 18:4. And I heard another voice from heaven saying, come out of her, my people, that ye be not partakers of her sins, and that ye receive not of her plagues. It's telling you, come off of this. Come out of this. Leave this lifestyle behind. I'm opening your eyes. I'm waking you up. Can these dry bones live? That's talking about the Israelites that are dead in spirit. So to come out of that spiritual death, you have to, going back to Ephesians, what do you got to do to come out of spiritual death? Let's read it. It says, throw off your old sinful nature and your former way of life, which is corrupted by lust and deception. Verse 23. Instead, what do you do instead? Let the Spirit renew your thoughts and attitudes. Let the Spirit bring you back into this truth. Put on your new nature, created to be like Yahweh, truly righteous and holy. So what is our goal? Is to be like Yahweh. How do we learn how to be like Yahweh? By following Yahweh Shai. By following Yahweh. So in other words, I want to be like God, so I have to follow after his son. Be Christ-like. Very simple stuff. Verse 25. Stop telling lies. Let us tell our neighbors the truth. You know, I'm gonna read that again. Stop telling lies. Let us tell our neighbors the truth, for we are all parts of the same body. So for like IUIC, HOI, One Body, ISUPK, Captain Tazariak. What are you? Your own fucking camp now. You got the what is it? The Genesis Church, TCG. Genesis Church of God Ministries. All you guys need to stop lying. That's what you need. You need to stop lying. Let us tell our neighbors the truth, for we are all parts of the same body. Especially you, so-called Deacon Hakah. You're the worst. I thought Alazar was bad, but I told you guys were going to get swallowed right back up into the earth 2 years ago before anything happened. Prophecy fulfilled. But everybody was saying that. Everybody knew that shit was going to happen. It was just a matter of time. So really, it's not even a prophecy. It was just a matter of time. It was just we all had something to say about it. All right, let's keep going. Verse 26, it says, and don't sin by letting anger control you. That is a problem I have. Don't sin by letting anger control you. Don't let the sun go down while you are still angry. Those are my problems. For anger gives you a foothold to the devil. And so that's where I personally, I got to check myself. Every time I hear those scriptures, I'm like, I got to work on my anger. Because I get really mad after getting fired from my job last year. And, I literally had to, start my own thing. It's been very stressful. I have to work twice as much to not even make half of what I was making. But we're building up. But still, it's I gotta stop letting my anger have control over me. I can't let the sun go down and still be angry. For anger gives you a foothold to the devil. If you are a thief, quit stealing. All right? Hakah, Alazar, Nate, anybody that's getting a Cash App or a GoFundMe or a Super Thanks or a Thanks or Patreon or whatever you guys are doing, yeah, stop stealing. Stop stealing. Quit stealing. If you're a thief, quit stealing instead. Use your hands for good, hard work, and then give generously to others in need. So it's telling you, make your own money. Stop taking from the other Israelites and then give back to the Israelites. Not take from the Israelites and laugh at them if they need help. You guys are fucking doomed. I don't even hate to say it that way, but it's the truth. That's the way it's got to be said. You're fucking doomed. The Most High is coming to take you out slowly and surely. For sure, you guys are going down. All right. Let's keep going. Verse 26. Don't sin by letting your anger control you. Don't let the sun go down while you are still angry. Verse 27. For anger gives you a foothold to the devil. Verse 28. If you are a thief, quit stealing. Instead, use your hands for good, hard work, and then give generously to others in need. Great. We all understand that now. That's very plain and simple. You cannot say that that's not just like the most simple, understandable, self-explanatory verses out there. Verse 29. Do not use foul or abusive language. Let everything you say be good and helpful. And so to having foul and abusive language is gaslighting people. It's not saying, shit, man, that's not foul and abusive language. Nobody was abused by that. Foul and abusive language is when you use words to tear people down and hurt them. That's why it says if you're lying, stop lying. Okay? Come with the truth. Be righteous and generous. So, do not use foul and abusive language. Let everything you say be good and helpful, so that your words will be an encouragement to those who hear them. So, like I said, you can't like tell, you know what, and when my son played football, my oldest, the coach, man, I hated this guy. He'd be like, you did this wrong. Okay, moving on. So he would tell people what they did wrong, but he would never give them a correction. And without correction, there was no resolve. So it bothered me. So it says when you that's what I felt like was abusive language, because the way he spoke to the children and never giving them a way out, just telling them how bad they were and then going to the next thing. It says, let everything you say be good and helpful. So you've got to tell them, hey, you guys made this mistake over here, but to solve this mistake, you need to do this instead next time. So that's what I'm trying to explain to you. That's foul and abusive language. Not just said shit, damn, or fuck. Those didn't abuse anybody. Just got to stop with that bullshit. You guys got to stop not understanding this book. It's getting a little late in the day for that. So, verse 30. Do not bring sorrow to Yahweh's Holy Spirit by the way you live. Woo! Do not bring sorrow to the Most High by your dirty ass lifestyle. Remember, He has identified you as His own, granting that you will be saved on the day of redemption. Ooh, that takes me to what is it? Let's find it. Let's find it real quick. It said that you may be saved. Didn't say you were. See, this is another thing about these Christians. I thought we were all saved if we just said that we accept Jesus Christ as our Lord and Savior. The scriptures are saying, hopefully, if you're a good person, in the end, you will be saved. What? That's scary. You guys aren't scared about that? You should be. You should be. Zephaniah. Let's get it. Zephaniah 2:1. What does it say? Gather yourselves together, ye gather together, O nation not desired. Now, why am I reading this? Listen carefully. Verse 2. Before the decree bring forth, before the day pass as a chaff, before the fierce anger of the Lord come upon you, before the day the Lord's anger come upon you. Seek ye the Lord, all ye meek of the earth, which have wrought his judgment. Seek righteousness, seek meekness. It may be ye shall be hid in the day of the Lord's anger. So do you understand? Like, that's that when you go back over here, how are you going to be hid? It tells you in Ephesians that it says do not bring sorrow to Yahweh's spirit by the way you live. So how do you live? Remember, he has identified you as his own. And this is the part that's important. Guaranteed, you are guaranteed that you will be saved on the day of his redemption. So what do we have to do? That's why we're going back over to Zephaniah 2:1. It says, so what do we have to do for the day of his redemption? We have to seek ye the Lord, all you meek of the earth, which have wrought his judgment. Seek righteousness, seek meekness. It may be ye should be hid in a day of the Lord's anger. So that being hid is synonymous with guaranteed you will be saved on the day of redemption. So what is that going to look like? What's the day of redemption going to look like? What is it going to look like when we're saved? And it's beautiful because it's actually in the book of Genesis. It tells you exactly how it's going to be in the day of redemption. In Revelation chapter 11, and you go to verse 12, it says, And I heard a great voice from heaven saying unto them, Come up hither. And they ascended. This is the day of redemption. This is how you're going to be hid. This is how he's going to hide you from all of the destruction. So let me read it again. And they heard a great voice from heaven saying unto them, Come up hither. And they ascended to heaven in a cloud, and their enemies beheld them. So the people that are enemies, this is the most beautiful part. The bitter, the dark, the confused, all of the wickedness, they're going to watch us. Ascend means to fly into the air. And we're going to fly right up into these clouds, which we've been seeing lately. There's a lot of clouds out there like spaceships. So let's see what happens, right? So, and their enemies beheld them. So we're going to be hid from what? Verse 13. In the same hour there was a great earthquake, and a 10th part of the city fell. And the earthquake were slain of men 7,000, and the remnant were affrighted and gave glory to Yahweh of heaven. The remnant were scared. Like, oh, you saved us from that. When they saw the destruction, according to the vision of John the Revelator, they were scared, even though they'd already been saved. Going back over to Ephesians, let's finish this out and close it up. Going back where we left off, verse 30. Get rid of all bitterness, rage, anger, harsh words, and slander, as well as all types of evil behavior. Instead, be kind to each other, tenderhearted, forgiving one another, just as Yahweh through Yahushai has forgiven you. So if that 1/3, let's come back together, just like they're doing right now on this the Chinese boycott. The Chinese boycott. So let's go ahead and come back together that same way. Zephaniah 2:1, gather yourselves together, O nation not desired. That 1/3 were hated for his name's sake. We all know that we're calling on Yahweh, Bahashim, Yahushai. A lot of you are calling on Yahushua and all that stuff. You really need to check yourself. I hate to say it. I don't. I want you to be correct and then tell me where are the characters for that and what do the characters mean and where do those characters come from. And if it's Aramaic or Yiddish, you're wrong. Okay? Get it through your head. It's Yahweh, Bahashim, Yahushai. So instead, we need to be kind to each other, tenderhearted. I forgive you for saying the wrong name, but the Most High ain't going to, so get it right now. So, and just as Yahweh through Christ has forgiven you. So you're going to make mistakes, but you've got to be that righteous man that fell 7 times and got back up again. So you got to come out of that fake name. So with that being said, if you got eyes to see and ears to hear, I hope you got something out of this message. Ephesians chapter 4. Shalom.